Welcome everybody to episode 143 of the China Show. So good to have you here. We are today having our show on Thursday rather than Friday because there have been some new developments regarding the overseas Chinese police stations we wanted to talk to you about. It's kind of important we get it out there. But we have a regular show for you today, so get ready for everything you've come to expect from the China Show. And what do you say we saunter right into it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're going to go directly into what's new. And this is where we talk about what's new with regards to China. And what is new right now is this.
Yeah, somebody just sent this to us earlier. And it says, China blocks visas for South Korea and Japan over COVID restrictions. Now, what's happened is, really make it super succinct.
It's so tit for tat.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
China basically says that it's discriminatory to ask people coming from China, flying from China, to have a negative PCR test, a negative COVID test, right?
Yes.
It's par for the course. It's normal, right? So, you know, I guess Japan and South Korea had these restrictions. They said, if you're flying from China because there's a massive outbreak there, then you better have a negative test.
And
right?
it doesn't matter, even if you're Korean or whatever.
It doesn't matter what race
because, like,
you
you know, there's lots of Koreans working and living in China.
Yeah.
So when they fly back, they have to also
Yeah.
get tested. It's not discriminatory against you based on your nationality.
No, where you're
it's
flying
where
from.
you're flying from.
You're literally a black dude from Nigeria flying from Beijing trying to go to Korea or Japan, then you still need to have a negative PCR test. It doesn't matter who you are or where you're from.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
Enough.
It turns out, Backstreet Boys, that was all about COVID tests.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Anyway, not discriminatory. It's absolute nonsense.
Yes.
And China freaks out. They said, no. But this is what makes this even crazier, okay?
Yeah.
China, which the entire country has COVID, by the way.
Yes.
Or has just recently had it. Hundreds of millions of people.
Yeah.
China requires a negative PCR test. China requires a negative COVID test if you're to go to China.
Yes.
Right? So they're calling the rest of the world racist for saying that you need to have a negative COVID test if you're flying from China.
But
it's not
doing
racist that China requires a negative PCR test from around the world.
it's just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, if you read about it, China said now they've just blocked all short-term visas for Koreans and Japanese people when they try to apply. And they said that they will adjust this if the discriminatory practices of, you know, requiring PCR tests of people flying from China are lifted.
Yes. Now I'll make this even worse.
Okay.
Because what you just said makes it sound like that they're doing this in retaliation. China's always required a negative PCR test.
Yeah.
So none of this is new.
No.
So I don't understand what leg they have to stand on here. What is this?
It's one of those situations where China fully discriminates against everybody in every other country. But that's fine.
Yeah.
But if anyone even does even the same, like what they're doing now, even just slightly the same or similar to what they do, then suddenly, oh no, we're being discriminated against and we will retaliate. Nobody's blocking visas for China.
No.
You know, it's ridiculous. It's just such a childish, ridiculous thing to do.
So I guess some media involved, some other stuff, because we had some people look at it for us. These are all submissions. This whole story is a submission from you guys, and appreciate you guys being, you know, there on our subreddit and our Discord.
Yeah.
There's a meme that came out of this. It says, Japan, South Korea, you cannot come to China. Haha, that's what you get for discriminating us to take your PCR test, right?
Yeah.
And the response says, good for you, with the U.S. And Japan and South Korea. And then China gets all butthurt. And U.S. and Japan and Korea are playing with each other because, you know, let's be honest, we're like the best friends ever.
Sure.
And then North Korea says, bro, I've literally blocked your people from entering my country. And China still cries.
Yeah.
Because even North Korea blocked China from entering.
Yeah,
Their
they
only
did.
ally.
In the beginning of the pandemic, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yes, it's just kind of silly. It's a silly situation. It's childish, and that's the government we're dealing with. We've got a lot to talk about when it comes to what's going on with the Chinese government right now, because they're trying to pivot something.
They are. And a little water cooler diplomacy over here. We have Wang Wenbin here, and what he's talking about is the U.S. needing to share information and data about its domestic COVID situation with the WHO and the international community in a timely, open, and transparent manner, and work effectively to stop the virus from further spreading. I just wanted to hark back to this classic tweet, because no one probably paid attention to it when he said it. and just bring up the absolute hypocrisy of now, where China has even gotten the WHO, which it has bought and paid for, concerned.
Yes.
Even the WHO is like, China, you got to start sharing data with us.
And they're like,
this
nope.
is ridiculous. You're hiding everything. There are thousands of deaths per day in China of COVID. Yeah. And they're reporting like 2.
Sure.
Right. So I just wanted to bring back some good old classic hypocrisy. Just like when we bring up the classic clips of when state media went on and said that there is no COVID-19 pandemic and it's not human-to-human transmissible, and they even convinced the WHO of that. Just wanted to remind everyone of the criminal organization you're dealing with.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the next thing.
Oh, it's not over yet.
Oh, it's not over. Okay, so what is this?
Oh, yeah, this is an unrelated meme.
There we go. So it is unrelated.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought this was great. This is on Non-Credible Diplomacy, which is a great subreddit. And China, I thought this was such a great highlight because it puts into perspective how far China's fallen in diplomatic relations with the world and its position in the world.
Yeah.
Because honestly, like when we lived in China, I would say up until 2017 or so, China had a decently favorable or at least neutral opinion around the world. Like people were like, "Oh, China is that place that's developing."
I'll be honest with you, most people did have a favorable opinion. They were like, "Oh, China, that's the next big thing. Let's learn Chinese. It's good for business," or that type of thing.
Right.
Especially in South Africa, there was a lot of that. Like a lot of people were looking to China as a favorable trade partner and all that kind of thing.
Now, there were horrible things happening behind the scenes, but China was playing its cards right by keeping quiet.
And actually, the rest of the world, because let's be honest, the rest of the world, other than our audience, generally doesn't pay attention to what's happening in China. So they just have this idea of what China is.
Right.
And their loose idea of what China was good.
Yes.
Now their loose idea of what China is bad.
Xi Jinping has absolutely tanked China's reputation abroad. And I'm not talking about little like, oh, we don't want to deal with China on this policy or whatever. I'm talking about across the board.
Yes.
And I thought this meme was great. So for listeners, I'll read it. It says, "Confident in my position of strength in the region." There's China, right?
Yeah.
South Korea and Japan working together despite animosity between themselves because of me. Japan and South Korea hated each other.
Oh, yeah.
Now they're like hand in hand.
Yep.
And it's the Philippines and Japan reaching unprecedented levels of military cooperation, including Japan sending fighter jets for the first time since World War II.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
Then Indian Air Force and Japan Air Self-Defense Force about to embark on their first ever bilateral exercise. Not only globally, the whole region is turned on China.
Yeah.
Like overnight.
Did you include the Australian Prime Minister, the Australian... what's his name? Diplomat.
Oh yeah,
Chinese. You put that in here.
That's
okay,
a good. Corner.
Okay,
absolutely.
Just checking. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, cool. Yeah, it is true. China's really brought upon itself a lot of scrutiny that it probably wanted to avoid.
Yes,
let's put it that way.
Yeah. Just somebody on our subreddit had, out of curiosity, I decided to visit websites of various Chinese embassies to see if they require a negative PCR test before entering the country. Spoiler, they all do.
Yes.
So even officially on all their websites, they're whining and saying that everyone's discriminatory and racist by asking people flying from China to have a negative PCR test, but all the embassies for China saying if you're going to go to China says you need to have a negative PCR test.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know how we're even having this dialogue.
This irks me a lot. This has always irked me a lot. And remember, not that long ago, maybe a couple of years ago, there was that whole fiasco in, where was it, Switzerland, with the family that tried to sleep in the lobby of the hotel. Yeah. And then they're like, this is killing.
Sweden, yeah.
It was Sweden?
Yeah.
I always get those two confused. I'm sure lots of people do. Yeah. I'm not the only one who gets...
It's like a classic foible.
It's like, I know the difference between the countries, but if somebody tells me something happened in Switzerland and I'm not paying attention, I'll think it happened in Sweden.
Sure.
Just because it sounds similar. Yeah, to me.
So not.
I know. It's completely different countries. It's all right. It just happens.
Northern Europe. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sweden.
So the fact of the matter is, there's this outrage that poured out of China at the time because this family tried to sleep for free in the lobby because they had a booking for the next day, and they thought that they could just sleep in the lobby of the hotel for that one night and then stay their legitimate night the next day. Yeah, and this is killing or whatever. You probably know about it. You've probably heard about it. But at the time, I just remember the outrage on the Chinese internet and in Chinese society about these poor Chinese citizens being discriminated against
at the hostel,
at a hostel or whatever, hotel. It was a hostel. And I was like, bitch, Okay, we travel around China, and every time we go to any slightly like not main city, the hotels say foreigners are not allowed to stay. We have been kicked out and forced to be sleeping on the street
over 15 times.
It's like, what are you talking about? But the whole of China is like, oh, discrimination, racism against. They were trying to break the law and sleep in a lobby.
Break the policy.
Yeah, break the policy of the law of the hotel, okay? If I have a hotel, I am laying down the law. Nobody sleeps in my lobby. Yeah, you pay for a room. You don't come camp out for free.
No.
And then they get this whole thing going on about like, oh, the rest of the world is so discriminatory against Chinese people. And I was like, seriously, that got my goat. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was like, this is rubbish. Remember that? Remember we had to sleep in that freaking shack in Guizhou? Remember?
We literally had to sleep in an open shack. It didn't even have 4 walls.
Yeah.
It was a shack in the woods.
Yeah.
No, there was no power or anything. We literally had to hike into the woods, find a shack.
Yeah.
And it was like we had built a fire so we didn't freeze.
We almost killed ourselves. Remember in Hunan, where we couldn't find a place to stay in one town, and they sent us to another town. We still couldn't find a place. No foreigners allowed. Plenty of hotels, by the way.
Over an hour ride, 2 hour ride.
We get to the next place. Also, no foreigners allowed. We had to continue. Now we've been riding for like 14, 15 hours straight. We're tired. We're exhausted. We need a place to sleep. We cannot find a place to stay because foreigners. Even though we're 100% legal, nothing wrong with us.
Full residence permit.
We're married to locals. We've got everything. But no, because you're a foreigner, you may not stay in a hotel. Yeah. It's bullshit. So when China pulls this discrimination shit like they're doing with this whole travel thing, it gets my goat because anyone who lives in China or who is traveling to China realizes just how much discrimination they have against you. You know? And it's like, where are you coming from here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a Ku Klux Klan member like calling someone racist. You know what I mean? Right. It's like, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, just had to get that off my chest. Because I mean, we almost died because of that crap, of exposure.
Multiple times.
And
remember in Liaoning?
Yeah.
Literally, it was 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was.
You know?
Speaking of dying.
We got to set this up before, you know.
All right. Now, guys, you have probably heard of this so-called wonder medicine, which is not a wonder medicine. It's a bunch of BS, called Lianhua Qingwen. Okay? Now, it's been around for a while, and it's always been kind of like a treatment for colds and flu. So, hey, you got a cold and flu. It's one of the things you can go buy at the pharmacy.
It's Chinese medicine.
Yeah, and it's
herbs.
It's basically herbs, but it's got ephedra in it.
Yeah, which is a herb.
yeah, exactly. But it's an effective herb.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gets your heart racing.
Yeah, exactly. So you take these tablets, and it helps you with your symptoms of your cold and your fever.
Sure.
Okay, to a certain degree. Now, when COVID broke out, this Lianhua Qingwen, one of the owners of the company, like the half partner or whatever, he's connected to the government, he is government, and he's like, okay, when we send out these packages to people that are currently in lockdown who are they're not allowed to order food, their own food, they have to only accept government packages. Let's make it mandatory that these packages include Lianhua Qingwen. Okay.
A bullshit Chinese herb.
Yeah, which is great for treating COVID. They came up with this idea that it was a treatment for COVID. They even got shills and white monkeys to go out there and be like, Lianhua Qingwen capsules are good for treating COVID.
Just pseudoscience bullshit medicine.
Yeah. So they made this huge thing. They are so rich and successful because all the local governments were forced to purchase Lianhua Qingwen capsules to put them in these packages and these relief packages and stuff. So they've made billions of dollars out of this whole thing, right?
Keep in mind, this is traditional Chinese medicine. So one of the things it touts, just so you understand, this is not like an approved drug, is to treat the dampness of the qi.
Yes.
So you have to believe in qi for this to work.
Yeah, it's not medicine. No. It's not real medicine. It's not scientifically proven, and it's actually banned for sale in places like America, and
it's banned for sale in America if you say it's anything at all related to COVID.
Yeah, but also because it's got ephedra in it, you can't import it.
You can't import it. Yeah, but there's some weird loophole because you'll see that it's sold here.
Of course it is.
We'll get to the bottom of that.
But basically, you're not supposed to be able to import it and sell it because it's not FDA approved. No,
it's
okay, it's not FDA approved.
FDA released a warning against it.
You're not supposed to be taking it in like a country that has science.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well said.
They have released gems. Absolute gems.
You guys know all of the memes. Throw us a meme. Throw us a random meme.
Okay, Subway Wonder.
Hey, do I look like a Subway Wonder, man?
You know the deep ass lore of this show is usually steeped in ridiculous Chinese propaganda and the white monkey jobs that they do by hiring foreigners to like spread Chinese propaganda. Lianghua Qingwen, this bullshit medicine company that is steeped in CCP corruption.
Yes, yeah.
Has created an ad campaign that rivals some of our best memes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And we're going to be showing you probably one of these every show for the next couple of shows because we came across a gold mine.
And we downloaded them and stored them somewhere because they'll probably nuke the channel after this.
I mean, well, hopefully not. But anyway, so we thought we'd start you out with this. Now, I guess we just let it play. What do you say? Or do we set the scene? We just let it play?
We can do a couple pauses. We'll interrupt. So
we'll be, you know us. We interrupt. That's our job. Okay. Anyway.
The interrupt show.
We'll just start.
Yeah. Like a Tim and Eric sketch.
Yeah.
Jeff, you have a cold.
Yeah. Yep.
Hold on.
Yeah.
He's chilling.
Yeah, he's chilling.
He's coughing.
Yeah.
He's sneezing. He's sick, right? Mm-hmm. And his wife, presumably his wife, has to tell him that he has a cold with a really bad, like Russian English dub.
You'll realize that the majority of the actors that they get for these English parts these days are Russian or, you'll find Eastern European and so on because they've made it very difficult for certain countries' people to actually stay in China.
Yeah.
So the ones that they don't, like their allies, like Russia, they get to stay.
Correct. That's why you'll see a lot of Russians.
Yeah. Anyway,
everyone's really, really pumped that this is like the new Daruchi guy. He almost dies in this. So he could join Daruchi.
He could. Right. Let's watch again, and you'll see he makes a comeback later.
He does.
Jeff, you have a cold.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you cut that?
No.
Wait, he's not coughing though.
No.
I have a cold.
I didn't put that in there. This is completely uncut. This has not been edited or altered in any way, shape, or form. I can promise you that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So hang on.
So she hands him Lianghua Qingwen.
Yeah,
Bullshit
it's
capsules.
kind of bizarre where they're going with this. Let's try again.
Take it.
I have a cold.
Why does it sound like a computer voice?
Yeah,
almost?
it's like slowed down.
Yeah.
And it's telepathy.
Yeah, I have a cold.
It's almost like she brainwashed him. She's like, Jeff, you have a cold. You'll have a cold. And then he goes, I have a cold.
You know, right? But anyway, let's see what's going on. What's happening?
I knew you guys are going to love that one.
Yeah.
I have a cold.
Yep.
Jeff.
Dead man say what?
Yeah.
What happened?
They magically appeared.
Oh no. Where's his wife? Plot twist.
His dead wife gave him pills.
She dead.
Yep.
This is deep as F.
Yep.
Jeff, you have a cold.
It's like
What? She's there again?
it's like exposition.
Oh man.
Like,
Okay, I gotta go back. We gotta what is happening here?
so many questions.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, but now why is it in slow mo?
No idea.
It's like the darkest shit ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the fact that this is an advert, okay?
Yeah. Cedric says that B word is calling from beyond.
Yeah,
and that's
man.
the thing. That's what's creepy as F about this. I just want to hear the you have a cold thing.
Okay.
One time.
Yeah, all right.
It's so good. It's like brainwashing or something.
You mean like this part? Yeah. All right. We'll go. We'll keep ourselves. Yeah.
Let's just run it.
Okay.
Jeff, you have a cold.
You have a cold.
Yeah, you have a cold.
Quality.
Yep.
The echo of the cough.
I have a cold.
What? Like, who wrote this?
I don't know, but that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? It's all in my mind. At least
Bro,
the
it's
wine
like
is still there.
Deep stages of Alzheimer's and dementia.
Has to be.
He's like, what?
Wait, I got pills in my hand? What's going
Should
on?
I take these random pills that appeared in my hand?
Yeah, I know, right?
Plot twist.
Why are there all these people in the background of that black and white photo? It's like at the
don't know.
airport. They took one photo and made it black and white.
Jeff, you have a cold.
He said, oh, I guess so. You just take a fistful of those pills.
True Blue Productions says, is this Z propaganda? Basically.
Yeah.
Remember China and Russia partnered the propaganda? This is the
Yeah,
fruits
this is
of their
it. It's the
labor.
fruits. Anyway, if you think that's ridiculous, this is the tip of the
Yes,
iceberg.
yes.
It gets so much better.
And you know what my favorite part
Yeah?
is?
What?
The other ones include memories of these ones.
Yes.
So that we watched another one. It's like some wedding or some shit, and it like harks back to this guy and his dead wife.
My favorite thing though is the description underneath that video. Okay.
Yes.
Which, by the way, got 112 views, which is a lot. Okay.
Imagine the budget.
Yeah, I know. So, under the epidemic, when you work overtime late at night, there are bursts of coughing. When you are alone abroad, the flight is cancelled due to the epidemic. When you are a little embarrassed on different occasions, strangers give you familiar warmth.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
That must be an episode.
Yeah, when you have no relatives or friends at your wedding, but family members far away consider your health. At every important moment in life, Lianhua Qingwen capsules will give you love and warmth. We are always with you.
I mean, you're always in my acid trip. When I have dementia and I miss my dead
I have a
wife.
cold. Well, you can't move your mouth
No.
when you say that. I have a cold.
How do you cough?
Yeah, exactly.
He coughs
Yeah.
without moving his mouth.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, I got to correct myself. It's Lianhua Qingwen capsules over 90%.
They got some real shills to
Yeah.
shill for this.
Anyway,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's
gosh.
ridiculous.
I love that actually though. That's like so good.
It's hilarious.
It's so good for
Yeah.
real. Wonder what Rick would think about that.
Oh, Rick? I think it'd be.
Wow, that's a little
Oh,
too
you mean
much
he
for
would?
me.
I don't
No,
know. I think actually you might
it's-
be a little too much for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's probably popping them Lianhua Qingwens like candy, that guy.
I think he'll have a heart attack if you do that.
Maybe. Anyway, let's move on.
The Yanghua Qingwen capsules will F your shit up hard.
Yeah, if you're going to start hallucinating about your like ex-wife or whatever.
Seriously. No, it's not pangolin dicks, guys.
No,
Stop.
it's
Enough.
not.
Kill wife regret.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Like, she kept feeding me these pills.
Killed her.
He's like, he's had enough of it. Now she's got her regrets. He's like, okay, I'll have some. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Gosh, I love
So, you say a dude in Texas sent this?
Yeah. So, well, this is what I don't know if he said it was in Texas. So he sent this, and then I said, "Where is this?" Right?
Yeah.
And then somebody said, "This looks to be in, I guess, Plano, Texas, or something." And so I looked it up. This shop is in Texas and in Georgia.
Right.
Look at the name of the shop, and I didn't want to show this to you because I wanted you to pick up on this. Look at the sign.
Where that says Just Go
Yeah.
instead of Just Go. Yeah. It's like a knockoff of Just Go.
Explain what Justco is.
It's like the Aeon brand supermarkets. It's a Japanese supermarket, Just Go.
So China
Yeah.
made a knockoff Justco called
Yes.
Just Go.
Yeah, Just Go.
In America.
Interesting.
How is that not a copyright infringement?
Yeah, I mean,
And
a
then
lot of things, yeah.
Let's compound on top of that.
Right.
How did they get illegal medicine?
Yeah. You're not supposed to be able to bring it in.
Apparently.
Apparently.
We're
Maybe.
trying to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah.
But why are they selling it? Why are they selling it?
Yeah, I have no idea why they're selling it because...
I don't think you can commercially sell it.
Yeah.
You know? Well, I don't know. I don't know the full rules on this yet. I just know that
I've noticed, like with the Asian supermarkets around the world, we had it in South Africa too. They will sell things that are just blatantly not legal.
Sure.
It's just because they always can fall behind the misunderstanding. Oh, we didn't know.
Yeah. Oh, it's just like, I guess you could say we got these boxes from China. We didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know it was illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, a language barrier, that kind of thing.
And again, we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get to the bottom of it because the FDA released a warning about it. And it can't be tied to anything COVID related, but I don't know the law behind like selling it. I think it's sus.
I feel like it's because it contains ephedra, it cannot be imported and it cannot be sold because ephedra can be used to, manufacture other stuff or whatever.
Sure. Not copyright, by the way, trademark is what I meant to say.
Yeah, trademark, yeah.
I didn't even look into this.
By the way, if you want to see some more of that Lianhua Qingwen nonsense, go over to a friend of ours' channel called Free China. He's just made a video over there which says what rubbish is China trying to sell now, and he goes into the white monkey side of that Lianhua Qingwen stuff. So yeah, it's worth taking a look. There's a link below if you're interested. Yeah. Anyway,
we'll see if anyone can pick up on this.
Yeah. What do you think this is all about?
I don't know. I'll let you guys guess.
Unfortunately, I don't have that soundbite here.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah, I don't.
Well, let them just have a little... It's an inside joke, then.
Yeah. Well, we'll move on. If you know what this is, you know what it is. Yeah. Part of the club.
Yes.
Okay, you wanted to point this out, right? What's going on?
Give me off screen. I want to blow my nose.
You're going on? Okay, wait. We're going to have to play something while you blow your nose. I wonder what it could be. How about this?
You gotta understand, China.
I got you. You got you. Okay, never mind. There's how true. I'll put up a yummy for you.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you wanted to explain this quickly. How did we miss this?
We missed this.
Yeah.
This happened like a while back in 2022 in Thailand for the APEC CEO Summit.
Yeah.
And people are always bringing up Klaus Schwab, this guy that just freaking loves China. WEF or whatever, right?
The World Economic Fund.
Loves China. Just waits for every goddamn opportunity to bring China back into the fold so everyone can keep investing into it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
He's always trying to convince people that China is where you want to send your money so that they can bolster their military and, know, whatnot.
I don't know
and oppression.
what, this dude, man.
Well, he's obviously got tons of investment in China.
Yes.
Must be that.
He's also one of the most powerful people in the world.
Exactly.
Anyway, so...
and he's also German, right?
Yeah. Let's just double check that.
Oh,
his name is like...
I'm guessing from his name that he is.
Klaus Schwab.
Mm-hmm.
He's all part of that, that stuff we try to avoid.
World Economic Forum, Great
crap.
Reset, whatever nonsense.
German engineer, yeah.
He's German, right?
German and Swiss, but German is, yeah. Anyway, most importantly, has nothing to do with that. We're not talking about any of that crap.
Yeah.
What we are talking about is when he unveiled the new logo for the APEC CEO Summit. And that's real, by the way. Fact checked. That is the actual logo. For those listeners out there that is not seeing this, that is quite literally a backward swastika.
It just looks like a flowery swastika to me, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like someone tried to disguise it with flowers and petals.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know, the swastika is not actually a bad symbol. And it would probably make a little bit of sense to include that kind of thing in a logo if you're in a Buddhist country, because it's a Buddhist symbol which has the opposite meaning of what the Nazis wanted. Yeah. That's why they turned it around.
Right.
Okay, they did some research, the Nazis, and they did that on purpose. So the swastika is a reversed version of this, of the Buddhist symbol.
But this isn't Buddhist.
I know, I'm just saying, like...
It has nothing to do with that.
Anyway, the fact of the matter is, there he is, unveiling a flowery swastika as part of the APEC CEO Summit.
It's such a swastika.
It is.
And it's not the good kind.
No.
It's just not the Buddhist one.
Yeah, it's just a swastika, anyway.
Mirrored.
Yep.
Isn't the other one the other way around?
No, this is the
That's the
Buddhist,
bad one.
This is the Buddhist one.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
But it's not a Buddhist organization.
No, I'm just saying, but it is still a swastika. being that he's German, he should probably stray away from that.
Yeah.
I would have been like, you know what? Let's change it up a little bit. You know, maybe add some circles in there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's maybe not go for the swastika look.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, those colors are not hiding it too well.
No, this is the Buddhist one is not angled.
It's not about angled. It's reversed.
Oh, but this is the bad angle one. This is the reverse bad angle one.
Look at the
No, I understand. This is the bad one. You understand what I'm saying, though? They
No,
tilted
just look up the Nazi one. You'll see.
I know it's right here.
No, like look up the flag.
It's right here.
Yeah.
I know. I'm
See,
saying it's mirrored. I'm saying.
Yeah, it's the other way around.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
but the
right.
Buddhist one isn't tilted. You understand?
No, it can be tilted. It doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't.
No.
Okay. I've only seen it like this,
Oh, okay, no,
like
it
around
can
Taiwan
be.
and stuff.
It could be in various forms. Anyway, it is basically a swastika. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah.
Just thought we'd point that out. Yeah. Oh, that's the end of what's new?
Yeah, that's what's new.
Okay, excellent. So now we're going to get into the actual breaking part of the show. But before we do, a word from our sponsor. Most important thing on a bike trip, beer. And the most important thing for a healthy lifestyle is a healthy diet.
And that's why I'm proud to say this video is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day, and originally I wanted to give it a try because I wanted better gut health, I wanted increased energy, I wanted immune system support, and I hate taking all these like 10 pounds of vitamins and pills and all these vegetables and stuff. It's so much more convenient to take AG1 in the morning before I even drink my coffee. It makes me feel amazing because I know I just did something really good for my body. It's got all the vitamins I need. It's got everything that my body craves throughout the day. Taking AG1 is so easy. It's the easiest thing you can do under a minute. It's 1 scoop of powder mixed with water once a day, and it's been part of millions of mornings since 2010. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/ADV. That's athleticgreens.com/ADV. Check it out.
Well, I actually, sorry. Before we move on to soft power, I actually have a real life story when it comes to AG1, but I'll save that for later in the show.
Sure.
Something I experienced recently. It's interesting. Anyway, it's time to move on to Soft Power Hour. Soft Power Hour is, of course, our main segment of the show, and this is where we talk to you about how China is trying to change your mind through various means, ways, and specifically overseas police stations. Now, this is a very in-depth topic, something that we have covered in the past numerous times, but it's just getting bigger and it's actually coming to a head. And there have been some revelations lately, and this is why we wanted to release the video today, is because we just wanted to get on it and so we could talk to you all about it. So let's start out from the beginning.
I'll do a rundown.
Okay.
So there's a nonprofit organization, think tank called Safeguard Defenders, right? And there's some Taiwanese people involved. There's people from around the world involved.
Sure.
And what they uncovered, they do a lot of good work, by the way. If you go to their website, it's not like boring reports. They do really visual stuff about stuff like, especially related to China's international aggression and stuff, right? So Safeguard Defenders put out this report, and they found that there was, dozens of these overseas police stations where China was taking their government, employees or whatever, and then sending them abroad to open up these, police stations in different countries. Let's say Canada, sure. Right? And they were actually claiming that the people involved were just volunteers. They're just, we're just getting enthusiastic Chinese citizens that want to help their fellow Chinese people abroad, right? Mm-hmm. So most people weren't paying too much attention. And that's why Safeguard Defenders went kind of in depth with this stuff. Yeah. What they found was that they were opening up these overseas police stations, and there's different branches of CCP officials doing this from different parts of China that were starting these police stations. Yeah. Some of them were done above board, like, for example, in Italy.
Yes.
They got the Italian government just to agree to say, yes, we'll have a police cooperation with China, right?
Sure.
Sign them on. And the whole world's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you actually doing?
Yeah.
That was in 2016. Mm-hmm. In other places where they definitely weren't going to get approval, like Canada or the US or Germany, right? In countries that they knew they wouldn't get approval, they set up these stations, and they set them up with this idea that we'll operate them out of these weird kind of hidden facilities. We'll go to like a restaurant. We'll go to an acupuncture facility. We'll go to
basically
a massage
Chinese
parlor.
businesses, because there's already a presence there.
Yep.
They worm their way into the Chinese communities.
Yep.
They find the Chinese diaspora community leaders, community businesses, and then they make sure that everybody knows that they're present, and then they operate out of one of those people's restaurants or real estate agency or whatever.
So like I was saying, it's like an alibi. Think about it. You're already in a Chinese community.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to set up there. And then your next alibi, the most important one, is we're enthusiastic citizens of China that want to help people when they have difficulties in their country abroad, right?
Yeah.
So let's say New York City.
Yeah.
Let's say you go to a Chinese neighborhood in Flushing.
Yeah.
You're in Flushing, New York City. You're like, okay, if somebody needs to renew their driver's license, right, then we'll help facilitate that.
Now,
right?
hang on a second, because I want to just talk about this driver's license thing. Every single time there's been some kind of an official inquiry about these police stations, and I've been reading so many reports on this, but every single time, let's say the UK government approaches the embassy in the UK and says, what's the deal with these so-called clandestine police stations? And when the US government approaches the US embassy or the Australian, any one of these places, the first thing that they say is that these were set up to help Chinese citizens abroad renew their driver's licenses. They say that every time, the driver's licenses. How many freaking Chinese people abroad need to renew their Chinese driver's licenses? Don't they have a local one?
You know what happened here?
What?
Well, number one, the consulates are supposed to take care
that's
of
also what I was going to say. If you want to renew your driver's license or any paperwork, and if you have any trouble, if you have legal trouble, anything, you go to your embassy, or your consulate. You go there. That's what they're for.
Yeah.
But they always use this as an excuse. Driver's license, driver's license, driver's license, driver's license. Yeah. Driver's bullshit is what it is. Yeah. And that is the official, from every statement that's come from every embassy around the world, they've always said driver's licenses.
So to answer that, what I wanted to say is, do you know why they say that? Because that's the order from above. Typical Chinese fashion, or I should say Chinese government fashion, an order comes from the top.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing they have. And without fail, they can't really alter that excuse because that's what they were told from the top.
Yeah.
This is for driver's licenses. So that's how you can punch a hole in the narrative very quickly, is that it doesn't hold water, but
Also,
they never deviated from that.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's also an official admission that these things exist.
Yes. So that was one issue that they had. This is where they kind of got caught out, was that, yes, okay, they exist, right? So what happened was, if you guys weren't around for the first couple episodes where we covered this, we had people go and look for them.
Yeah.
Right? And we had people in multiple countries around the world actually physically go and take pictures of these places. And they do exist. They operate out, like we thought, they operate out of Chinese restaurants. They operate out of laundromats. They operate out of acupuncture clinics. They operate out of Chinese businesses, not necessarily by choice. It's not that these people said, yes, please come in and operate this out of my business. It's probably many times through coercion, right?
Yeah.
The reason I say that, and I allegate this, I'm not saying this is 100%. The reason I say that it's not necessarily their choice is because of what has been happening as a result of these police stations. Yeah. What it looks like at this point, after looking at what has been happening to Chinese citizens abroad, is it looks to be paired with Operation Fox Hunt. Yeah. Operation Fox Hunt is something I've done tens and tens of hours of research on when I did my expose about what it was all about. Yeah. Operation Fox Hunt is this idea that no matter where you are, if you're a Chinese person, you belong to the Chinese government. Yeah. So they can find you and they can try you and they can coerce you to come back to China to face trial or disappear you.
Yeah. Right? What did Xi Jinping say? Once Chinese, always Chinese. You will always be punished as a Chinese, whatever. Blah blah blah. And another little addendum to that is if you speak bad about China, you will be punished, right? Yes. No matter how far away you are. And that's, by the way, that's not just addressing Chinese people. No, of course, that addresses us.
Everyone. Us and the millions of people that speak out against the CCP.
Exactly.
Now, let's bring it back to Operation Fox Hunt. Operation Fox Hunt being, we're going to go catch these foxes, these dissidents, right?
Yes.
Initially, Operation Fox Hunt was set up as a campaign to find Chinese economic criminals. And that was a way to entice foreign governments to allow China to operate in catching these people. Sure. If you say, hey, American government, we have a decent relationship right now. I'm talking like back then, right? Yeah. We have a decent relationship right now. Would you allow us to help or at least aid us in finding economic criminals, people that are committing fraud in your country? Yeah. Because they're probably guilty of fraud in China too. Sure. Will you aid us in catching them? American government's like, all right, let's talk. Let's have dialogues. Sure. Right? Meanwhile, as all of this groundwork is being laid, China goes, how do we overstep this boundary?
Yes.
How do we take serious advantage of this? Let's find dissidents. Let's find protesters. Let's find people that disagree with the Chinese government or have fled the Chinese government because they are against, the authoritarian principles and human rights abuses of our country. Yeah. Let's find them too.
Sure.
Right? And so this is how it spirals out of control. All of a sudden, next you have these clandestine police stations popping up all over the place that are most likely involved in harassing, stalking, and coercing people to go back home. And what Safeguard Defenders found was the worst.
Yeah.
It was the worst possible outcome. There were police stations, or at least their distant offices in China, that were bragging about how many people they've repatriated back to China.
Official Chinese state media were touting the effectiveness of these police stations abroad.
Yeah.
Okay, in public articles.
Yep.
But because of the language barrier, it's in Chinese, they get away with it. People don't scrutinize it. People aren't paying attention. And, it just basically proved what everyone was thinking. Now, for those of you who are maybe a little bit confused as to why it's an issue that they would set up a little police station or whatever, it's because when you do any kind of police operations abroad, okay, let's say you're the US and you want to do police operations in, Chile, right? You will send your investigators or whatever, like FBI or something, to the embassy in Chile.
And you register them as such.
And then you register with the local government. And before you do any kind of law enforcement, you get approval from the state.
Yep.
You cooperate with the state. They tell you if you can or not. They can tell you to F off, and then you're not allowed to do anything.
Which they do.
Yeah, most of the time. If it's beneficial due to some kind of agreement or whatever, then they will work together with you.
If it's a friendly country.
Yes, you are not going to be the one going and knocking on someone's door and arresting someone. No, the local Chilean police, Chilean or whatever you want to call them, they're going to go knock on the door and arrest somebody, and then negotiations begin, and then whatever happens, happens. But it's all done under the spirit of cooperation and sticking to local laws in whichever country.
It's called respecting local laws and customs.
Yes.
Right? And that's how the US operates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, China doesn't have time for that because
Time.
first of all, they do not respect laws and customs of other countries. And we've seen this countless times. They don't give a shit.
No.
Okay? They don't want to have cooperation. And they also know that if they tried to do this, it would be denied.
Why? I think you can answer this very easily. What kind of people are they going after?
Dissidents, mostly.
That's not illegal.
People that are calling for democracy or human rights and that kind of thing, which is what America is all about, for instance. And many developed countries, if they're not about that, they at least support that.
Yes.
So they support your right to want to have democracy. They support your right to be able to criticize your own government. China does not.
Or call out, human rights abuses.
Of course.
Yeah.
And if you're fleeing from like the Uyghur situation, for instance, they provide safe harbor. But China doesn't want that. They want to take care of you. They want to silence you because it's very inconvenient for them that you exist. And so what they do is they set up these mafia organizations, basically. It's a clandestine police station, but what it is a bunch of Chinese police or CCP members that have a base of operations in your country. Just like an illegal mafia operation running out the back of a pizza shop or something, right?
And it turns out they hire Chinese diaspora to work for them.
Not only hire them, but coerce.
Coerce them,
They'll be like, hey, listen, it would be very patriotic of you to do this. And if you don't do this, by the way, we'll freeze your bank account in China.
And arrest your family.
Or whatever. So it's very easy for them to take advantage of, as we're going to show you later.
Yeah.
The very nationalist Chinese diaspora that live abroad, super easy to just turn on the nationalism.
Or pay.
Yes, pay them or coerce them into working for them.
Yeah.
Okay? So they already have assets on the ground everywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Okay? And it just depends on whether or not those assets choose to work for them or not.
Yes.
Okay? And it is like a mafia organization. And here's the problem, okay? It's illegal. It's extra legal. What's going on has got nothing to do with the local laws in that country. And that's why it's dangerous. That's why it's criminal.
It's exploited.
Yes, these Chinese police stations are criminal organizations breaking the law around the world. Breaking the law by stalking, harassing, intimidating, threatening, doing whatever they have to do to silence dissidents and also bring what they consider to be criminals back to China. But illegally, forcing them.
It's allowing China to operate the Chinese government in your country. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't stop. There might be some people who be like, "Oh, I'm not a Chinese citizen, or I'm not a China dissident, or something." Right? Doesn't matter. You think they won't take the next step? You know what I mean? If you're allowed to operate a criminal organization, they'll do anything they're allowed to.
Yeah.
You
And they do all sorts of things like call in fake bomb threats. They SWAT people. They do whatever they can to silence people.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it's, all this stuff that was happening leading up to this. This is what I want to say. All that was leading up to this, like all the bad stuff that was happening to dissidents or anti-CCP people abroad, now has a reason. Now has something to be traced back to.
Yeah.
And it's what was suspected. As soon as people found out about these organizations, it was suspected that they were doing dodgy things.
Yeah.
And now it makes so much sense, especially what's been coming to light.
Yeah. So anyway, what you see behind us is a building in Chinatown in New York City. That's right. Not too far away from us over here. And what's going on?
In the windows there, see those glass windows, I believe, at the third floor.
Yeah.
That is the FBI raiding the offices.
Yes.
And of one of these, police stations. And apparently this happened in November.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last fall,
yeah. So what was going on here is there was actually no statement from the FBI, which is interesting. They didn't say why they are doing this, because what was leading up to this was that, the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, was saying, we're very concerned about this.
Yeah.
This is messed up, especially when they found out, because the Safeguard Defenders report, when we were looking at it initially, most of the stuff was abroad.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff was in other countries, which is alarming. But for people in America, it's kind of like, whatever. There's only one in New York City. But then they found out that there were multiple ones, at least one in LA and a couple in New York City or something. And so the FBI's response was like, this is really bad, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But then there was silence. They didn't reply to the New York Times. They didn't reply to journalists.
Yeah.
Right? So what transpired here, we don't actually know. But the fact that there was a raid and an investigation means that something's going down.
Yeah, there have been quite a few updates as far as this is concerned, but there are other things that you might not expect to be linked to this whole situation, which have also been happening simultaneously.
Yes, so that's actually why we wanted to do this episode.
Yeah. Okay.
So we erroneously didn't report on the fact that this raid had happened in fall, so we wanted to update you on that.
Yep.
But
real action is being taken is what the message is here, is that real action is being taken against these police stations. And we're seeing this across Europe as well, all over the world. You see, up until this point, none of this stuff was taken seriously.
No.
And you have to understand that as a Chinese dissident or just a Chinese citizen or even a naturalized person in whichever country, if you're part of the Chinese diaspora, people have been targeted for years now.
Especially Chinese citizens.
By the way, these service stations have been open for a very long time, many years, okay? Depending on the country, of course, it could be a decade or more. It's
a Xi Jinping initiative.
Yeah. So they've been open for ages. So you're a Chinese, diaspora dissident, and you've been harassed and threatened and silenced and coerced and whatever by these police stations. In the past, you file a local police report or something that you're being stalked, and it just doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Because it's too difficult. You have to understand it's very difficult for local police stations. Think about it, okay? Here you are in the U.S. and, or you could say South Africa. I'll use South Africa as an example because this happens in South Africa a lot. In fact, there's a heavy, terrible sort of underground in South Africa. They found whole families that have been murdered and stuff, Chinese families or Taiwanese families because of the local mafia organizations and all that. So there's terrible stuff going on there. But let's just say you are a dissident, you're being harassed. All of your harassing, okay, all of the text messages, all of the messages are all in Chinese, okay? All of your evidence is in Chinese and in a language and with cultural nuances that a local South African policeman is not going to understand, especially in South Africa. They're so useless. Even if you speak in their own language, they can't figure shit out. So if you go in there with this information, you're like, hey, I'm being harassed and stalked and coerced, they'll be like, whatever, They can't do anything about it. And I think you'll find this all over the world. Doesn't matter which country you're in, mainly because of the language barrier. They've been getting away with this for so long. Yeah. Right? But now, finally, because it's gotten such an international spotlight, people for the first time that have been harassed and put in danger and coerced and threatened by these sort of local police stations and people connected to them, they finally have an avenue. They can finally go to the police and put in a report, and they'll be taken seriously. So this is a huge, huge, huge breakthrough, you know?
Yeah, I want to say that there's so many layers to this, though. And there's so many layers that China puts in between this. And I'm using the context of the documentary we just watched, which we'll look at a clip from in a second. But what they'll do is they'll open up an organization in China, let's say a media organization.
Yeah.
Like I'm a travel company or a media organization. And what they'll do is they'll actually hide under that guise. And what we found is that they'll send people to do their bidding actually abroad. They'll go and investigate people or find people or do this under the guise of just being like, oh, no, I just work for this travel company or this media company, things like this. They'll do things like you see here, the veneer here would be I'm hiding behind an acupuncture clinic, right? You hide behind some other layer, and then the CCP always gets to wash their hands of this. And I think that's coming undone now. It's becoming very clear that the Chinese government is breaking all rules of international diplomacy.
They always do.
Yeah, they always do, but it's so at the forefront, and the crimes are so obvious now that it's gonna be very difficult to hide behind this. Just continue here. I want to look at some other stuff here. So there's a documentary. It's in German, but thank God it's got English subtitles.
Yeah, we've linked it in the description below.
Just broke. Huge stuff, and I just want to give you a quick rundown. It follows this journalist, really amazing journalism, some of the best I've seen around this story. It follows this kid that ran away from China when he was 17 to join the Hong Kong democracy protesters.
Well, he put two posts on Weibo. So basically he tweeted out twice, and then he started to get threats, and a warrant was put out for his arrest by the government. So his father sent him to Hong Kong and then to Europe.
I should say, he put out the Weibo tweets and then went to Hong Kong. But
he had to
was
escape.
in support of the Hong Kong democracy protesters. So they actually played his, on national TV, they played clips of him saying that he's a criminal.
Yeah, and they put a warrant out for his arrest.
Put a warrant for his arrest. So then he flees to Germany, right?
Yeah.
After he gets to Germany...
No, didn't he go to Holland?
Holland. But he meets this German guy, right? This German journalist. And he starts to get massive harassment when he's in Holland and then also in Germany.
Yeah, he was getting phone calls from a Berlin phone number that was like harassing him, or texts and so on.
So they're like, the journalist in Germany is like, why don't we go try to figure out what this is?
Yeah.
And the whole thing is it's like a movie. It's crazy. This is just one tiny clip.
Yeah.
Just now I received a message from Booking. It then told me somebody used my name book a hotel, and I checked this link. I saw somebody use my name book the Ritz-Carlton Berlin. So maybe later they will send a bomb threats, I think.
No way.
I will call Ritz-Carlton.
No, wait, don't. We just go there.
Okay.
Let's just drive there and go in and ask who that was.
Okay.
Okay, also hier ist die letzte Location, die der Verdächtige
so...
Jinyu geschickt hat.
So what happened there? Get out. That's later.
Yeah, I'll move that back. There we go.
So this kid is in the back of this journalist's car, and he changes hostels all the time, obviously, because he's trying to keep safe, right? While they're going through this story, and he books. Somebody uses his name to book into the Ritz-Carlton
and paid for it.
For like $600.
Yeah, they actually paid for and booked the hotel. And that's so that they could later send a bomb threat, and he would be connected to that place.
So this one dissident, who's not even that prolific or powerful, young man, they're spending so much money on trying to like mess with him, right? And he said, "This is par for the course. This is just what they do."
Yeah.
Turns out later on, as you see, like the people that are doing this are transferring tens of thousands of euros all the time through cryptocurrency and all this kind of stuff. And each person is tasked with harassing people under the guise of nationalism. But what this actually is a plot from the CCP.
Yeah, it's all CCP linked.
Crazy.
Definitely watch this little documentary and maybe leave a little the China Show sent me or something in the comments. That'd be fun.
Yes.
Down below.
Yes.
The link is in the description, but definitely worth a watch. And it gives you a good idea into some of the workings of all of this. And it's important from another aspect as well. Sorry, let me get us in here. When we cover topics here on the China Show, a a lot of the time that it's related to something that's happening in the USA. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, USA imperial, whatever. What do they say? Imperialist.
Imperialist. Yeah.
What is that? Military industrial complex. All that nonsense." But this is not a USA issue. This is a worldwide issue.
Yes.
Okay, and so this, for instance, spans multiple European countries because the guy is living in the Netherlands. And he's being harassed from one of these Chinese police stations in Germany.
Yes.
So it's cross-border, cross-European, all this kind of stuff. And it just shows you once again that all over the world, it doesn't matter where you are, South Africa or Chile or wherever you are, the Chinese government overseas police stations are there to harass, silence, and intimidate Chinese people abroad. And not just Chinese people, anyone who's involved in any sort of, activism against the CCP or who criticizes the CCP.
Yes.
Know what I mean?
Yes.
So again, that's just showing a spotlight on how dangerous these overseas police stations are.
Yeah, so I just wanted to cap this off. That documentary goes into so much more than this.
It shows one of a Chinese restaurant that's supposedly one of those police stations over there.
And it turns out there's this massive criminal organization going around hunting Chinese people.
Yeah.
And they go and visit Uyghur families.
Yeah.
And it turns out China was arresting family members in China just for people fleeing to Germany. Arresting them for 17 years on fake charges.
Yeah, of course.
17-year sentences for this stuff.
Oh, they do it a lot. It's terrible, and that's why it's worthwhile watching this, because it's the same sort of thing that we're used to seeing with many other stories and anecdotes and so on. The Chinese government really is just a very big international criminal organization, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you're... Again, I hate doing this reiteration thing, but if you're investing in China knowingly and saying, you know what, it's the next big thing, it's a necessary evil. You're gonna have to invest in it. You're gonna have to realize that China's on the world stage. Blah blah blah. No.
Yeah, don't do it.
Not.
Don't do it if you can manage it. Just don't do it. Anyway, now absolutely related to all of this, we covered a case. Okay, 1 second. We covered a case not too long ago. Maybe. I don't know, a month ago or so, where...
early December, I believe.
Yeah, People's Republic of China, citizen arrested for stalking. Okay, now just a recap on this. This is a guy who was studying in Boston.
Berkeley.
In Berkeley,
Berkeley College.
But it was like a music college or something.
Berkeley College of Music, not Berkeley, California.
Yeah, it's Berkeley, and I think it's spelled
East Coast here. Not West
exactly. Coast. So snow prison land, as I like to call it, because you're stuck in your house most of the time because of the snow. Anyway.
You're just bitter now.
Take some time. It snows great in the beginning. You're like, wow, look at all this. It makes everything look wonderful. That rotten old shed outside, it looks like a Christmas mural or something.
This is true.
You know what I mean? And then you're like, can the snow just F off so I can actually do stuff?
It's not cool. Anyway.
Snow prison. Anyway, he was arrested for stalking and harassing another student, a female Chinese student, who put up a poster that said, stand with the Chinese people, we want democracy and stuff. And he threatened to chop off her hands if she ever put that out again. He was sending threatening mails to say that he had contacted the police, the public security in China, and they were going to go talk to her family. Okay.
Sounds really familiar. Does it all sound like what we were just talking about?
It is exactly that.
So Xiao Lei Wu,
that's his name.
To say his name, was arrested.
Yeah, he was arrested. But wait, there's a development. That's why I'm showing you this old one first. He also put her email address out publicly and encouraged other people to harass her, which is something we've experienced. It's a very common way for the Chinese 50-cent army to intimidate people. Is they put their information out there. They dox them.
Overseas police stations.
Yeah, exactly. And they put it out there. They put it out on Chinese forums. They put it out on Weibo and stuff. And so that like a nationalist mob will go and attack that person.
Or at least that's the alibi.
Yeah, exactly. They also were calling for people to dox her, reveal where she lived and all this kind of stuff. Whole lot of horrible, terrible things. Okay, so he was arrested. Now, the wheels of the law in America are slow. Justice is not swift. Justice is like molasses.
Yes.
Okay?
Checks and balances.
Lots of checks and balances. That's why people sit on death row. It shouldn't be called death row. It should be called retirement row because you sit there for like 20, 30 years or something while they figure shit out.
Depending on what state you're in.
Obviously. But I'm just saying, you know what I mean? That's America for you.
Alabama wants a word. I mean, no, Texas wants a word. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
Cross that off.
Yeah, it's not like China where they have a firing squad where they'll just take you out back. Okay. Anyway, now it has been updated.
I just want to, doesn't it? Poor Xiao Wu has to look at this FBI report.
Exactly,
oh,
yeah.
Poor guy. He's looking
So
at his report.
Xiao Wu has now been indicted.
Yeah.
Okay, now that's different.
Wah, wah, wah.
Being arrested in America apparently isn't so bad.
Yeah, well, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Yes. Yeah. Da-dung, you know, like Law and Order. The Serious Crime Division or something.
Yes.
Anyway, now when someone is indicted, that means they've now been formally charged.
Yes.
Okay, now this is the real breaking part of this story, is that he's now been formally indicted, and this is causing huge panic amongst Wu Mao, online.
And overseas Chinese police stations.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
It's all tied to this guy.
Because this is serious. He is facing 5 years in prison if charged and sent. Because remember, this is America, right? So you get indicted.
Yep.
Then you get you go on trial. You get tried. Then you get convicted. Then you get sentenced. And then you get released back into the public to do more crimes? No, hang on. No, that depends. Depends on the situation. But anyway, it's a long process of what I'm trying to say. But this is a very important step.
Yes.
Every step is important, because if it gets cut, like, oh, they arrested him and then they release him, then it's gone. This is super important, because now it's like set in stone.
I also cannot wait for the details of this case to come to light, because I have a very sneaking suspicion. This is my opinion. This has nothing to do with the law. I don't know what the process is here right now.
Yeah.
But I suspect we will see a very similar story unfold that we just saw in that German documentary.
Yeah.
I suspect there was probably money exchanged. We'll find out. Again, this is all I'm alligated. I have no idea. This is a criminal investigation. We'll see what happens. But this is the next important step into us finding out what transpired here. And I suspect it's very, very similar to the other tactics we've seen.
It very well could be. You also have to understand that these internet trolls, these 50 Cent Army Wu Mao nationalists, have been getting away with just being able to brazenly threaten people for the longest time now. In China, if they're in China, they're immune.
Yes.
And they will do the most disgusting, dastardly things that they can over the internet, of course.
Yes.
Doxing people, swatting people. For those of you who don't know what swatting is, it's like falsely reporting a crime.
Yeah.
So the police come to that person and harass them, say, oh, he's holding someone hostage.
In a restaurant. And
and they go in and, possibly cause trouble and maybe shoot them by mistake or whatever the case. It's a big problem. They do all these terrible things. They report them to every single organization possible for every dastardly deed, hoping something sticks. You know what I mean? That's what they normally do. But to have the gall to do that while you're in America to another student that's currently studying in America with you. And something people don't understand about America is you don't need to be a citizen to still be protected by the law in America, which is something that makes America a great country.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay? If you are here legitimately, and even illegitimately, I mean, illegal, residents or whatever you want to call them, illegal aliens or people that just came over the border or whatever, they're still protected by the law too.
American person.
Yeah.
You're on U.S. soil.
Exactly. You're on U.S. soil. If you're being harassed, if you're being threatened, the police and the law will protect you.
Yes.
That's what they do. They might deport you after they've protected you, but they will still protect you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So anyway, the fact of the matter is, this guy was doing all this stuff here. So it's stupid of him to do it, but the whole be-all and the end-all of this is that it's now official that he's been indicted. And the Chinese internet is going insane over this.
Yes. I do want to make one delineation here. It's not that me and you disagree, but do not minimize the crime by acting like he might be just an internet troll.
No, he's not.
He could have absolutely been tasked to do this.
Yeah,
he could have. Right?
Dude,
I want to keep everything. I want to keep everything available. All of our options.
No, of course. I don't think he's just an internet troll, and I do want to clear this up a little bit here. Is that you have to be in such a comfortable position that your government's got your back.
Yes.
For you to do something like that. Okay?
Well said.
You have to be like, I am going to stalk, harass, threaten, and, upend this person's life. and it's okay. Nothing's going to happen to me because not only will I be protected by my government, but everyone's going to agree with me. It's going to be okay. And that is obviously because he knows that, I don't know, things that have happened in the past, or he's been in contact with people, or the Chinese embassy is kind of used to that sort of thing. I mean, look, we know for a fact that in the past, when there've been certain things like little groups of democracy gatherings, or maybe there's like a Taiwanese food stall or something, the ultra-nationalist students will go to the Chinese embassy to report this.
Correct.
And the Chinese embassy will instruct them on what to do.
Correct.
And they will go and take photos and harass the people and show them to the Chinese embassy. This is something that happens. They are working as agents and police.
Correct.
On behalf of the Chinese government. And all tied into these, police stations as well, because now they have a base of operations and they have their so-called volunteers, which are actually real policemen from overseas staffed there.
That's why I said this isn't necessarily part of that, but I want to connect it to that because of the way this might have operated.
Yeah.
There's always that level of veneer. There's a veneer of we have nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
CCP, I wash my hands. This is just enthusiastic people that really want to protect the country. And it's something we've seen on a personal level.
Yes.
And we won't get into that. But it's something we've seen in many victims we've talked to. And it always has this veneer of, we didn't do it. But there's a lot of nationalistic people out there that will do it. And I never want to further that narrative because that's bullshit.
We've actually received threats from people online. The people who are trying to dox us. And they were like, we have your address. And you know what? You never know what might happen. There are a lot of very enthusiastic and nationalistic Chinese people living in America right near where you live. If they knew exactly where you lived, who knows what could have happened.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
they did. All an alibi to set this up. And this has been exposed now.
Yeah, of course. Though the people, by the way, making those threats, go screw yourself. And we know who you are, and you're disgusting. And one of these days, hopefully you'll realize the error of your ways. You never know with these people, but whatever. The fact of the matter is, though, is that what he did was criminal. Okay, and we have to just take the whole China element out of it for a minute. If you're at college and you're in your mid to late 20s, and somebody puts up a post that you don't like, okay? And you start to harass them and you threaten them. You threaten them with killing them. You start to dox them. You go out there and you encourage other people to dox them. Brigade, you encourage other people to attack them. And you report them to authorities in another country, maybe where they're from. Say they're from, I don't know, Italy or something. You phone the Italian police and you say that they've committed crimes and stuff. This is completely criminal.
Transnational repression.
Yeah, it's criminal.
Textbook.
Yeah.
We've been victims of transnational repression. All of the hundreds of Chinese diaspora that we've talked to, the victims, have been victims of transnational repression, and it's coming to a head now.
And again, you cannot deny the links now because he himself said that he reported them to the Chinese government. So thereby he's linked to the Chinese government. If the Chinese government went and took his information and acted on it, that means that he worked as an agent of the Chinese government.
That is correct.
That means he is a Chinese government agent.
That is correct. Just like we saw in the German documentary, you are anti-China. Remember what the criminal says when he threatens the kid. He says, our country's police did this.
Yeah.
He's talking about China.
Yeah, our country's police are here.
Yeah, are here.
Yeah. That's the whole point of this, is that you cannot say he's just an enthusiastic nationalist if he's actually doing the work of an agent for you.
Correct.
Reporting people to the PSP in China.
The Chinese government has become a criminal organization.
Yeah. So anyway, the fact that this guy now faces up to 5 years, I wish it'd be more than just 5 years, but 5 years and $250,000 in fine, whatever, that's the penalty, has gotten the Chinese internet in an uproar.
Yes.
They are crazy because, of course, this has made a lot of news in the Chinese forums and online.
Yeah. It's not supposed to be being reported, by the way.
No, but the Wumaos are really scared.
Yes.
They're like, this is ridiculous.
Right.
I think some of them are starting to realize that they cannot get away with just being complete pieces of shit anymore.
Not in America.
Yeah.
That's the worst place you could try.
Yeah. And I think there needs to be more of a spotlight on this because we've seen this go on for years and years, this absolute repression that's been happening, especially on campuses overseas. Like look in Australia with Drew Pavlou and all that nonsense that goes on there. Same deal. If someone wants to have like a free Tibet or a Hong Kong democracy gathering or protest, thugs come in and tear down their signs and intimidate people and stuff. That is not how things are supposed to work.
No.
In developed countries.
No.
No. But they get away with it. When are these people are not deported? They're not arrested. Nope. It's ridiculous.
So I, as an American citizen and as someone that I can speak to anyone. Yeah. Hopefully, I think it's my duty and our duty as hosts of the show to say that if you have been a victim or someone is threatening you and it is transnational oppression, especially on behalf of the Chinese government, it's not the time to be silent anymore.
No,
it's been going on for a long time. Do not be silent anymore because something will be done about it.
And now is the time because now you can go to the police.
Yeah.
And they will understand.
Yes.
If you say, look, this whole thing about the overseas Chinese police and the harassment and so on, I've been a victim of that. Show them the evidence, show them the messages you've got. Do it now. Now is the time where they will take you seriously. If you've been worried about them not taking you seriously in the past, that's legitimate. But now they will. Doesn't matter what country you're in.
Yeah.
Do it. The more, the better. We've got to root these terrible organizations out.
Yeah.
And if China wants to do anything to do with the law abroad, they will do it correctly in the future. We need that message to be out there.
Yeah. So the link of the indictment report from the justice.gov website is in the description. So check that out, read that at your leisure, and I'll be staying tuned to see what happens because, like I said, I'm most interested to see what tactics were used and what led up to this.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And the more these police stations are exposed, the better. Now, again, this all boils down to the same thing. This was just released this morning or last night, this clip. I want to show you guys what's going on here. There's a guy on Twitter, his name is Byron1. It's very good to follow him. He often posts very interesting clips out of China or related to China and the CCP. But here we have a recent gathering, a dinner gathering organized by the Eastern U.S. Taisha Alumni Association in a restaurant in New York, Chinatown. The old folks are alumni of the Taisha Senior High School in Taishan, Guangdong. We've both been to Taishan. You've been
Many
there?
times.
Yeah. They are nostalgic for the good old Red Guard days. Now, bear in mind, this clip that you're watching here was in New York City, okay, in a restaurant. And
nothing illegal about it.
No, totally fine.
Might as well be in China.
But okay, what is actually wrong with this? Because, like you say, there's nothing wrong with
free speech. You can do whatever you want.
You can dress up like a murderous Red Guard if you like, and
you can.
And dance around.
I think what the problem with this is that it makes people think that, number one, all Chinese people support the CCP and its horrible, bloody legacy of Chairman Mao's times. Number two, my biggest problem is if you are a pro-democracy Chinese person and you are perhaps invited to this event or you hear about this event or you see clips of this event, how uncomfortable are you going to be to see the murderous organization, the murderous party of Mao Zedong, who at this time period, during the Cultural Revolution, by the way, bing, Cultural Revolution, they killed tens of millions of people between the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution.
Yes.
Why are we, I guess if you are a pro-democracy Chinese person that fled China and are living in America and you see this on your shores, how are you going to feel about that?
Oh, I mean, I could just put it to you this way. If German people who immigrated abroad decided to relive the good old days and dress up like Nazis and do Nazi dances, at their alumni gatherings, it's the same idea, really.
Sure.
And imagine just imagine the shock and outrage people would have. Because it's very similar.
These outfits and these dance and these people in this time period is indicative of a time period that went and killed and murdered the people that fled China into America to come here for the liberties and freedom and to stay safe.
Yeah.
And they're flaunting that murder. And
that's why people fled. That's why people fled.
Yeah, they're murderers.
The reason that the majority of the Chinese people that arrived during that time from
Taishan, by the way.
Exactly.
From Taishan.
Sure. But they arrived during that period, when Mao Zedong took over during the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution. The people that fled, they were fleeing these people.
Yes.
The people that came. So those Chinese families that have been in America now for like a couple generations, they fled this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
But there's another reason why I wanted to show this to all of you, is to show the absolute unwavering support of the Communist Party that you find in the Chinese diaspora abroad, especially of a certain generation, like this generation over here.
The Red Guards, yeah.
And that is why not only do they usually support these like Chinese police stations and all that kind of thing, but they help them. Okay?
Yeah.
And you have to understand, when you've got this much nationalism in that specific group, it makes it very uncomfortable for any dissident to be
that's what I was going to
part
say.
of any of these.
Even in this generation, there's tons
yeah.
of dissidents. Like you said, the people that fled and appreciate and live in America, why do you think they don't speak up?
Yeah.
Why do you think they don't speak up? Because they feel like they never left.
And they also have to worry because, look, I'll tell you one thing. Any one of those aunties looks like they're going to rat you out to the Chinese government in a second.
Well, they're celebrating Mao's
They're celebrating Mao.
Red Guard.
So you're sitting at a Chinese restaurant with, you know, like your fellow Chinese diaspora over there, and you say something that's, you know, critical of the CCP. Auntie Red Guard over there is going to be calling the CCP and like, oh, do you know Uncle who lives here in Flushing, New York at this address in this place? He is criticizing Chairman Mao.
Right.
Then
or Xi Jinping.
Yeah, exactly. Or Xi Jinping, exactly. And then you're going to get the local police station's going to be calling up Uncle Hu and saying, hey, listen.
See how this works?
Yeah, we heard you were saying this, you know?
So why do you think the thousands and thousands of Chinese diaspora dissidents that are anti-CCP have not spoken up until now? Why do you think? Gee, I wonder, right?
Yeah. It's because there have been no examples made.
Yeah.
And this is what needs to change. When you have people that have been threatened, when you have people that have been silenced, when you have people that have been attacked by the Chinese government organs abroad, and that includes these aunties, by the way, because no one's been arrested, no one's been taken to task over these bad actions, they continue to get away with it. And that's why this needs to change. And that's why I think we're seeing a big change with these Chinese police stations, and especially with this Xiaolei Wu guy. Xiaolei Wu, you know, the guy who threatened to chop off the girl's hands if she puts another flyer up and try to dox her and all that kind of stuff and harass her. If he gets properly sentenced and we start to see more of these cases.
If he's not found guilty.
If he's, in my mind, he's 100% guilty.
Sure, but if he's found.
I'm the opposite. In this case, I'm guilty until proven innocent. I know that's not how America works. I get it, whatever. But you know what?
Now you got to adhere to that.
Yeah, I adhere to it, but I can still think differently.
You can think. You're allowed free think.
Yes, I'm allowed to think. I'm allowed to think.
No wrong thing.
Yeah, exactly. But quite honestly, if he does get convicted and put in jail, this will be the best thing that can happen for the Chinese diaspora over here.
And we might see a very, very big snowball effect of people finally reporting
because it will give people the courage to report their harassers and report their abusers and report their, you know, whatever person that's after them, stalking and harassing them and silencing them. And then the more the merrier, you know what I mean?
Yes.
This could be a watershed moment. It really could.
Could be.
Just like, you know, the whole domestic abuse situation with women, how that changed when people started to speak up, when they had the courage to stand up to their abusers. This could happen with the Chinese diaspora.
Yes,
I really
love
hope
to see it.
I really hope so. Yes, 100%.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
Let's get to some more.
That, by the way, looks like the worst party ever.
And again, this is nothing official. You can't say that that person is a rat or anything. But what we can say is that attitude is indicative of why people are scared.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you not be scared?
I would be terrified.
If you were Jewish living abroad somewhere and there's like a Nazi party in your local restaurant and it was being shared on your WhatsApp?
Exactly. Imagine you're from Taishan.
Yes.
And you go, mommy's like crying. She's like, we're going to go to America. We're going to flee. We're going to get smuggled on a fishing boat. You arrive. We got to get away from this Red Guard that are literally running around the streets murdering people.
Yeah.
And parading people around the town with blood covered and placards on them.
And dunce caps and stuff.
And saying like, I am an intellectual, so I deserve death.
Yes.
Right? And parading them around. And then you go and you're like, why are the Red Guards dancing in New York City?
Why are they celebrating this? You know?
What?
Yeah, what's happening? Yeah.
That's why. But anyway, what are we doing now?
Well, now it's time for us to move to our next segment, by the way, which is Wu Mao Corner, where we talk about the Wu Mao. Who are the haters and those out there on the internet? And of course, we're going to start out with King Shit Wu Mao himself.
Oh, King Shit Wu Mao.
Yeah, King Shit Wu Mao, the wolf wanker, whatever you want to call him over here, wolf warrior. warrior, Zhao Lijian.
We actually had him, and we're actually a fan of ours, immortalized him in animation.
Yes, exactly.
And that's going to be a whole lot less relevant for him now.
Probably. As you all know, China adopted this wolf warrior diplomacy a while ago.
Yes.
They decided that this would be the best way to deal with the world is to insult them.
Yes.
That's all they do. So instead of being diplomatic, they're like, we're powerful now. Now it's time for China to call the shots around here. And we're just going to, criticize and attack anyone who says anything that hurts our feelings or whatever the case, And so that's what they've been doing. And Zhao Lijian's been kind of the spearhead, of all of this.
He's the most well-known.
Yeah, like the head of the spear, the point of the spear, I should say.
I have a massive critique of mainstream media. I'm banning myself from saying that word. From any media coverage of this. Because what has happened is that Zhao Lijian has been demoted.
Yeah,
He's been demoted because he was a foreign minister spokesman, right? He's the dude that goes out on behalf of the Chinese government and says, this is how China's foreign policy works, right?
Yes.
He's been demoted and put into a position, and I quote, into a position called...
called what?
I believe it's the Bureau of Oceans and Border...
Okay.
The Department of Boundary and Ocean Affairs. Okay, it's a big demotion here.
Sure.
Right? It's supposed to be a lateral move, like in terms of like CCP rank.
Right.
But everyone knows when you're taken out of the spotlight and removed from a position where you have a huge megaphone to the world, and now you're part of this like ridiculous Boundary and Ocean Affairs department that no one talks about. It's a demotion, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Why do I have a huge critique of of media coverage about this? Well, it's because a lot of opinions surrounding this are saying that they removed him or demoted him because China, he went too crazy.
He was
too aggressive.
Too aggressive and too critical, yeah.
Bitch, they told him what to say.
Everything he says is what the government told him to say.
He's the foreign spokesman.
He doesn't have his own opinion.
No.
And he doesn't have his own personality.
No.
He has the Chinese government script.
That is such a Western lens.
Yeah.
It's such like a West chauvinist lens on this. Like let's look at everything where everyone has freedom of speech and their own mind and speaks on behalf of their own feelings.
Yeah.
That's not how this works.
Yeah.
Zhao Lijian was the foreign minister spokesman for the CCP.
Yes.
Everything he gets is on a script from the central government.
Yeah.
He doesn't go off the record and say all these verbal abuse things and hurls abuse to everyone, which he was famous for.
Yeah,
That's
and
not his idea.
Tweets about like Australian soldiers slitting kids' throats and stuff.
Correct. So all this shit
Photoshopped and all that.
Yeah, all this shit that he's infamous for.
Yeah.
Is because that's what China's foreign policy was.
Yeah.
They developed the wolf warrior approach.
Yes.
He was named a wolf warrior diplomat, as he always does,
Yeah, he's always doing this.
because it was central government policy.
Maybe they learned that kindergarten rhyme where it's like if you point a finger, there's like three pointing back at you or something.
Yes.
So they were like, oh shit, we better rectify that. Make sure you always use an open hand. I'm pointing all my fingers at you.
5.
Yeah.
They add another one on.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's going on?
Anyway, let's zero back in on this.
Yeah.
So I have a critique with this that, he's probably been demoted because he was too aggressive. No, it's because China's foreign policy changed.
Yes.
It's not that their foreign policy and that they want to take over and completely take advantage of every country around the world so that they have the upper hand has changed. That's not changed.
No.
But they want I think a lot of damage has been done by the American administration, especially with the chip ban, especially with the tech bans, especially with things kind of moving away from China, and the whole world, really.
Here's the thing. When China sees itself as all-powerful, as it has for the last, I'd say, decade, okay, after Xi Jinping took over, he was like, now it's time for us to show the world that China's strong.
Yeah.
It started with the Beijing Olympics, and it went from there.
Yeah.
And that's been his thing. Like, now it's our turn. And the rest of the world has to treat us like we're powerful.
Yes.
And so that's why the whole wolf warrior diplomacy was started in the first place.
Correct.
And they're very happy to piss everybody off, as they do. No country in the history of recent history, I should say, has done so much damage to its own image as China has under Xi Jinping.
Absolutely.
And the fact of the matter is they don't care because they're more than happy to go out there and say, you suck and you're bad and you shut up, and you know what, you're actually the reason COVID came, and you're this and that. They do all these terrible things, and they're petty and childish, immature, and very insulting and very undiplomatic.
Would you be surprised if global investment and opinion coincided by going, yeah?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Now that, although China will claim that its GDP numbers are up, that its economy is doing better than it ever has, that it has developed the latest chip technology, so it doesn't need the outside world, which is a bunch of bullshit, by the way. It'll claim all of this stuff. This is just to basically get investors to keep throwing money at China, right? Because it's not true. They realize that they are currently on the downhill big time.
Yeah.
And they've realized that this whole wolf warrior thing is not working out for them.
Yeah.
And they want to try to revert a little bit back to that whole, let's pretend to be nice and just be shit behind closed doors, instead of let's just be shit out in the open.
That is absolutely
You know what I mean?
correct. And if you go to the next slide,
I will.
we can actually have a look at that. Now, like I said, this is a website, by the way, showing the director of the Department of Boundary and Ocean Affairs. So we will see Zhao Lijian appear on this website very soon.
Sure.
Next slide is the important one.
Okay.
China is really behind the scenes trying to replace its wolf warrior image because it knows that it was an absolute failure. And I want to reiterate this so hard, what you just said, that it's not going to change internal CCP policy.
No.
It's going to try and trick the world again, as it's, to be fair, successfully done so many damn times.
The thing is, it was very successful because of Deng Xiaoping's hide your strengths and bide your time.
Yeah.
And that worked so well. And
Yeah.
China in the background just pretending to be like, oh, we're just,
We're a developing country.
We're just developing. We're just nothing wrong, nothing going on here. Meanwhile, they're just really, stealing all the IP, destroying the environment, doing everything without letting anyone know. And just infiltrating, all the universities with Confucius Institutes, infiltrating the world, taking over organizations, bribing people, spying and doing all this stuff. Oh no, don't worry about us. We're all good. And they grow this very big economy and, forced IP transfers and stuff. That was working for them because nobody even noticed what was going on. But now they're all like, screw you, we're powerful, we'll do this, we'll do that. Yeah. Everyone's like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
They're like, hang on a second.
Why are they so
Actually,
mean?
why are we allowing them to do this? Why is this being allowed to happen? What's going on?
It opens eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
And it changed the world. And so now they're not hiding their strengths anymore. Their strengths were now put out there, and they were overstating their strengths as well.
They dumped the clip is what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
They dumped the whole clip.
And they jumped the shark, so to speak. I mean, there they are with their military parades everywhere, threatening to invade Taiwan, threatening that you will face consequences, this or that, really blustering and doing their thing. It didn't work out.
No. So the foreign minister, Wang Yi here,
Yeah.
was really emblematic of what the foreign policy of China was. Same with Zhao Lijian as the spokesman, right?
Yeah.
When you have the foreign minister here who's just constantly pointing his finger, just saying, you're bad, COVID didn't come from China, you're the aggressor, China's rise, all this stuff.
Sure.
Then Xi Jinping, it's in line with exactly what Xi Jinping's cabinet wants to do.
Yeah.
Despite failure after failure, an investment tank after opinion poll tank, everyone pulling out of China saying, holy shit, we got to get out of here, right? So what do? Well, they replace the foreign minister with, drum roll please, it's kind of like a fake election here, even this is internal CCP politics, with Qin Gang. Now, Qin Gang is...
Qin Gang needs Zijiba.
Gang, not Gang.
I know, whatever. You know what I mean.
Anyway, much more diplomatic person, right?
Right.
Now, this is
He hasn't always been diplomatic, by the way. Go look through his history.
I understand.
He did wolf warrior stuff too.
I understand.
Right.
But if we're going to make a comparison, and I'm not whitewashing this, by the way. I'm trying to say we're about to be thrown for a loop here because when you have a diplomatic ambassador that's not all over social media, by the way, China told them to go all over social media and run their mouths. This isn't their own idea.
No, they were told to go on Twitter and post all this
Wasn't their idea,
provocative
guys?
shit. Yeah.
Oh, Zhao Lijian's such a wolf warrior. The CCP always manages to get away with this.
Yeah.
Sorry if this is an aside, but they always manage to get away with pulling the wool over people's eyes and then in removing responsibility.
Yeah, it's that person, or it's just these nationalists. Oh, it's just that local government.
Because
it's the Wuhan government screwed up, not the Chinese central government.
It actually makes it look like China's government is semi-functional because it's like, yeah, we'd let this guy go on for a while, but he overstepped his boundaries, so we're going to replace him with this person.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you guys are reporting on this in like big media outlets, acting like it's his own volition that he was running his mouth and the CCP rectified the mistake.
No.
It
was the CCP.
At least with Wolf Warrior diplomacy, we could see what China's ambitions were on the forefront. And like the average person, the average Joe in Mississippi.
Sure.
We don't use Alabama anymore, I guess.
Yeah.
He's pulling up the newspaper, doesn't know nothing much about China. But what he does know
is how to make sweet tea.
And also that China's being mean. Right. It's easy to see with Wolf Warrior diplomacy.
Yeah.
When you remove that element, it makes it look like, okay, that's not good. We're going to be diplomatic. We're going to be good now. Bullshit.
Yeah.
What you got is you got people like Qin Gang, which is going to look like someone who's not unhinged. He's not all over social media running his mouth. He is typically, in exchanges, typically, I say, in quotes, typically much more palatable for people to
Oh yeah, he
tolerate.
started his whole thing because he wasn't he like the ambassador in America or whatever? And now they've
he was
removed
the
him.
former ambassador of
So he's like, it was so good to meet so many hardworking Americans, and he's basically just trying to butter people up with his absolute BS. Because if you look at his old stuff, he was incredibly critical of the U.S. and horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Horrible. But now he's all of a sudden he's just like, oh yeah, Americans are great people, and
It's called grooming. He's been groomed now to be the diplomatic
the
one.
silver tongue, you know?
Silver tongue, yeah. And I think this is I hope you guys can follow where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
But it goes from the top and it goes all the way down. And, our job as China watchers, we see it from the top because we examine this. We go through the Chinese government websites. We see who's been promoted, who's been doing this, what.
Yeah.
But it goes all the way down to the bottom. And even YouTubers paid by the Chinese government to spread Chinese propaganda have changed their tune too. Or at least the horses that they bet on in the past are changing.
Yes.
We've seen China do from replacing people as foreign ministers to more diplomatic people, have also kind of strayed away from the very aggressive wolf warrior type white monkeys that would get paid to parrot Chinese propaganda, and they've put their eggs into another basket now.
Yeah, Mulder, let's cooperate as long as China always gets the best deal. Let's cooperate as long as it's on China's term. But yeah, we got to be hand in hand here.
And you know what they've also seen?
What?
It's like proof is in the pudding too.
Yeah.
Because they've watched wolf warrior diplomacy fail and tank.
Yeah.
And they're like, shit, we're losing everything.
Yeah.
We still want to be this devious villain in the background, but we're looking like a devious villain, and people don't like that. Turns out, what a surprise. They've seen that happen with their propaganda campaigns too. When they back people that act like devious villains on their behalf, nobody supports them, right? But what they found is that if you create or craft a social media star, let's say a white guy, right, that fits right in line with their image of what they want a foreigner to look like, the Chinese government.
Sure.
And they put them out there to be this diplomatic person. I think that everything that China does is good, but it's better if we cooperate with America.
Yes.
We need to
America has to, fix its problems.
Yes.
China doesn't have any problems.
No. But we should work together. And it's this 99% pro-China message with a 1% like, I also think America's good.
Yes.
But we need to cooperate. This more diplomatic.
Sure.
We've seen it go from top leadership down to the lowly, YouTube influencer.
Yes.
Working for the Chinese government, or at least working on behalf of the Chinese government.
Yeah.
And it's all indicative of not policy change internally, but how they're going to present their outward image to attract more investment back to China and bring back a more palatable image of China.
They want to recreate what was going on before this wolf warrior shit, where they could get more and more power behind the scenes and take advantage of more and more, and basically take everything that they can from the outside world and kind of close themselves off, but get the fruits of all the external stuff, put it all into China, and then no one's the wiser.
No. It's still be a maniacal evil.
Why do you think all of these things like Weibo and so on exist? They took WhatsApp and they took Twitter and they took all this stuff. They let them come into China, kind of establish and test the market. Okay, that kind of thing does work well in China. Okay, let's ban it because we've already copied it, and then we can release our own homegrown version. And then that's how it works. They did it with everything. Google Maps, Baidu Maps, the search engines, every single thing. They take advantage. They open up. They're like, hey, come, let's work together. People come in, they invest, they show them how it's done. They're like, oh, this is great. Now you're banned, get the hell out, and now we keep your technology and we just build it for ourselves.
It goes further, too.
Yeah.
That makes it sound like it's some sort of nightmare capitalist scenario. No, because then when those copycats get too big, Alibaba, AliExpress, that kind of stuff, then the state takes it.
Yes,
it's like uber nightmare.
You know, like that Hungry Hippo game?
Yeah, it's Hungry Hippo.
And you just see like foreign IP and stuff.
Yes. But then the hippos all get eaten by one giant hippo.
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
the CCP.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to keep you guys in the loop here. I'm getting really bad vibes that not the media, but I think leadership, leadership in some countries will fall for China's silver tongue because it does benefit them to start investing again. Short-term investments always look good for economies, right?
Yes.
The returns on that stuff.
Oh, dude, people dump all their retirement investment and stuff into China. The CCP now, with its massive deficit and everything going down, they're like, yes, that money's useful. They take it to repair their own issues.
Yes.
They take it to build and bolster their military.
Yeah.
You know, and you're helping them.
I just want to
You
cap
will
it
lose
off.
it eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to cap it off by saying, and the conclusion here is that the Chinese government has shown no initiative that it's actually changing or reforming.
No.
Under Xi Jinping's cabinet, it's only gotten worse, and it's continuing to get worse. So don't fall for it. Don't vote people in that are, what's it called? Looking like that they believe in China's big change. You know, like, oh yeah, let's get this back on track.
Yeah.
Oh, more importantly, not even votes, because I don't think anyone in the next 5 or 10 years is going to be pro CCP and in the American establishment. But look out for propaganda.
Yeah.
Look out for this. It's going to get very deceptive, and it's already happening. Like we said, we don't want to name names, but there are people out there that are really getting propelled to the forefront.
Yes.
On YouTube, TikTok, these things. And remember, China has unlimited budget to push these people to the top.
Yeah, SEO and everything.
SEO, and it's going to look not like obvious propaganda anymore because it's going to look like, yes, I want to be the bridge between China and America.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
So
Without naming names.
like,
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, guys, we're going to talk about Australia for a second here. And this top envoy in Australia, this guy, what's his name? Xiao Qian. Yeah. Okay. He said that you got to worry about Japan. What was his thing?
So
he was like,
this is my favorite. This is the most big brain moment ever. no pun intended. Bro's gonna fly.
Yeah,
away.
exactly. Xiao Qian said Japan's failure to apologize for its conduct during World War II meant it could again go to war with Australia.
So this is what happened. So basically, yeah, for sure.
What are we gonna?
Yeah, run that. We forgot the ad.
Oh yeah, I agree. By the way, guys, sorry. You're going to have to put up with us for a second here. We want to run our sponsor ad again today because it's important. Most important thing on a bike trip, beer. And the most important thing for a healthy lifestyle is a healthy diet.
And that's why I'm proud to say this video is brought to you by Athletic Greens. I take AG1 by Athletic Greens literally every day, and originally I wanted to give it a try because I wanted better gut health, I wanted increased energy, I wanted immune system support, and I hate taking all these like 10 pounds of vitamins and pills and all these vegetables and stuff. It's so much more convenient to take AG1 in the morning before I even drink my coffee. It makes me feel amazing because I know I just did something really good for my body. It's got all the vitamins I need. It's got everything that my body craves throughout the day. Taking AG1 is so easy. It's the easiest thing you can do under a minute. It's 1 scoop of powder mixed with water once a day, and it's been part of millions of mornings since 2010. If you're looking for an easier way to take supplements, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/ADV. That's athleticgreens.com/ADV. Check it out.
What's going on there? Okay, wow. Okay, thanks, guys. Sorry about that. I just realized we'd gone over our allotted slot time. I was supposed to put that in there because I wanted to tell you that story. AG1, which is Athletic Greens, the sponsor of this channel. I just wanted to reiterate to all of you guys that we would never try to sell or advertise a product that we didn't actually personally believe in, and that we didn't actually use ourselves. And so up until fairly recently, you were the one that was using Athletic Greens, and I was just like, whatever, it's another health thing, it's not my thing. But I went on a diet recently because, let's be honest, it's pretty obvious. It's necessary, right? But I was getting like serious brain fog. And especially in the work we do, that's just not acceptable. No. Like, you know what I mean? You're trying to think of an idea for a video, you're trying to film, all this, and when you're just kind of wading through molasses to try and get anything done. So because they had sent us a sample of AG1 to the office, I started to take it every day. And that's not as like a meal supplement or something, just for the vitamins and things like that, right? And you know what? The brain fog went away. And so I just wanted to say that I 100% can back that product.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you guys know. And again, reiterate that we'd never try to sell you guys anything that we didn't believe in.
No.
Anyway, back to the whole World War II thing with this guy. The hilarious thing about this is that he's trying to warn Australia not to deal with Japan because they might, do things to Australia again.
Yeah, so there he's quoting back to like World War II.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, Japan will F up Australia again." Because this is the logic here.
Yes.
Liberal democracy and liberal democracy will go to war with each other because they've decided to partner up.
Yes, because he
That's the
doesn't want them
logic.
to partner up.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. China has made some serious errors here, okay?
Sure.
Because of the behavior that the Communist Party has had towards Taiwan and the whole South China Sea and everything that's going on in that part of the world, Japan has started to remilitarize.
Correct.
It's a direct result of what China has done.
That is correct.
Direct result. They've got these new security pacts. They're starting to, rumble again in the whole military side of things, which, to be honest, nobody really wants Japan to militarize. Nobody wants that demon to raise its ugly head.
It's not the same country.
I understand, but if anything taught us, if World War II taught us anything, is that you don't want to be invaded by Japan.
Yes.
Okay, no one wants
Japan's goated and one of the best allies ever now.
that. Absolutely, I know. I'm not saying
I know.
not saying people can't change.
understand.
Not saying a nation can't change, but when it comes to Japan, you just don't want them potentially invading. I love Japan. It's one of my favorite places in the world. You know me. It's absolutely. I got so
Imperial
many.
Japan was pretty bad.
Yeah, I got
Japan is
really
pretty bad.
good Japanese friends, and I'm not one of those people who's all about like, hey,
Today's Japan.
I'm not going to put the past on someone in the present,
Sure,
but I just got to say that if anyone's got to worry about Japan, it's China.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
If anyone had a bad history with Japan, it's China.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be going out there warning other people. He should be warning himself.
It's just such a dumb take.
It's just
so stupid.
And it's 100% China's fault that there's been any change in the status quo.
It's like zero self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's saying, allies, you better not ally with each other. Even more allies.
Yeah.
Don't partner up, allies.
How about China? You stop doing all these stupid things that are causing these changes that you don't want. And, let's be honest, most people probably don't want.
Worst take of the year so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
From our buddy Xiao Qin.
So remember, we were talking about all these quarantine camps that have been built. This is now, is this not world news or is it still Wu-Mao?
It's world news, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, quick. We're going to Worldview where we talk about everything in China. Well, specifically with regards to the world right now. Anyway, we have now lots of these abandoned camps that they were building. And it just shows you the level of wastefulness of the Chinese government.
And knee-jerk reaction to a problem.
And anyone who thinks that China plays a long game or has a plan, it's nonsense. Look at how they're just suddenly realizing, hey, you know what? Wolf warrior tactics don't work. What do? I know. Let's just cancel it, right? That's what they do. It proves to you again they don't have a long plan. It's just like, oh, the zero COVID policy, people are still getting infected, and now we've got protests. Well, let's just cancel it.
Yeah.
There's no long plan, guys.
No.
They're a reactionary government, not a proactive government. They are reactionary, and that's what they do.
Yeah.
So now they waste all this money on all these COVID concentration camp things they built, and they're not even using them. They're just going to waste. What a waste.
What a waste.
That money could have been spent on actually expanding the medical infrastructure in the country, building new hospitals,
'cause they can't handle it.
more ICU beds, doing anything but wasting all this money on this. It's ridiculous. I'm not going to hop on
I do
about it.
think the most important thing you just said there is the long game thing.
Yeah.
China is not some wise old man wisping his mustache saying, in the future, 600 years from now, I've got a plan. No, the Chinese government in its current iteration is so knee-jerk.
Yeah.
Every problem that comes on its lap is not some sort of massive grand scheme.
No.
They don't know what to do in this scenario.
No, they don't. Hey, guys, there's something I just want to show you because, we have our Monday show. It was so much fun. Don't you agree?
Sure.
Yeah.
Host. And today we have a very special show.
Who's there? Who are you?
It's absurd. Okay?
It's so bad.
Okay, my darling.
Hello, darling.
Hey, do you know that your boyfriend's a pervert?
How about having dinner with me?
Yeah, chicken. I love you.
I love you too. You are so sexy.
I hate that.
Will you marry me? Absolutely not. Why?
Okay, bye-bye. Okay, say bye-bye.
So, that's our Monday show, guys. We had so much fun.
That was one of the most fun ones ever.
It's that particular one was all about the sort of Chinese sex doll industry.
Yeah.
And
couldn't show it on the main show, so we show it on our Monday show.
Every Monday we have a clip that kind of crosses the line. We get people to vote whether or not to show it or not.
Yeah.
And so Monday's clip was really kind of out there.
It was like a Where's Waldo scenario.
It was just one thing I can say is that it was a hell of a lot of fun. If you guys honestly, if you have the means, we'd appreciate for you to join us on Monday for our private show. You can head over to patreon.com/ADV podcasts. Just join the Shaban Ho tier. You will have access to all the prior episodes, of course, and you'll be able to join us on Monday. We have another cracking one coming up this Monday for you as well. But it's just always so much fun.
It's important. Absolutely. It's important that you just said that they will be able to see that particular episode. The reason we show you teasers of the last week's episode is because you can go watch them. If you sign up.
That one is just...
you are not going to want to miss that one.
Yeah.
Definitely not. And there's definitely going to be follow-ups. You might regret, actually, you might want to miss that one, but because
it's up to you. You get the choice whether or not to watch that last clip or not.
Yes.
But it's very educational.
Yes. But anyway, the whole sex doll industry is fascinating. But then we got follow-ups to that. And we always come up with a very novel topic. And it's not just like, let's look at some clips. We're going to do things like play knockoff Chinese video games. We do snack taste tests. It's interactive. We talk to you guys the whole time.
Yeah.
It's very fun.
That kind of nonsense. All right. So let's get back to world news. What's going on here, C-Milk? It looks like...
it's protest season. Yeah. I mean, just since the pro-democracy protests / the anti-lockdown protests, we've seen a lot of protests springing up. There's been at least 3 this week, like big ones this week. This is a pharmaceutical company. Don't worry, don't demonetize us, YouTube. No one's hurt. They're throwing some papers and stuff at some riot police.
Yeah.
No one gets beat up or anything on camera. On camera.
Yeah.
Anyway, pharmaceutical people are getting protesting low wages or not being paid.
Yeah. I'll just pause it there.
Multiple factories and stuff had huge protests break out. Just wanted to say that it's not the same reason for protesting, but we're seeing a lot more public protests happen.
Yeah,
people are kind of inspired.
It seems that way. And I think it's also people are maybe a little less scared to share this because protests have always gone on in China. But I will be honest with you, the protests that I witnessed myself in China were usually very tame.
Yeah.
Just people holding banners and kowtowing on the side.
Except the anti-Japan protests. I watched them flip a car.
Dude, I saw that. It was insane. The anti-Japan protests, they were allowed to run riots.
They smashed Justco completely.
Yeah, I mean, I was there. I watched them smash a sushi shop and all sorts of crap. It was insane. And, my clients who were normally... That actually irked me a lot, because at that time, there was a particular... what was it? It was a company that I was... I used to do, like, English teaching for their managers. So we're talking about, like, very intelligent, middle-class, well-to-do people, okay?
Yeah.
And this was a good company as well. It was like a financial company. It was a well-known company.
Sure.
Okay, I'm not going to say who they were, but anyway. And I just remember discussing this with them. It came up in topic, and I was shocked to find out that like half of the people in the room, who I thought were very intelligent, normal people, had participated in this. And they were like saying, yeah, it was so great to go and smash the Japanese shops and the Shaorubin Guides and stuff. I was like, these people that I thought were very intelligent, great, normal middle-class people were out there shouting like, oh, Japanese ghosts smashing shops and throwing rocks at Toyotas and stuff. I'm like,
there was
what?
also the flip side. Like some of my Chinese friends were very against them. Thought it was ridiculous. But it is also not just about the anti-Japanese xenophobia. It was because people can't protest.
Yeah, so they needed an outlet. They're like, well, we're allowed to protest now, so let's just make the most of it, maybe. Anyway, so yeah, we had that protest, which is great. YouTube, don't demonetize it. It's just a chair. It's just a chair.
Don't just fast forward it though.
Okay, all right. I'll get past
Yeah,
this.
there's no conflict there. Nothing.
Yeah, well,
speaking of protests, there is a protest about.
oh, we got to
Tesla.
talk about Tesla for a second here. So hang on. There we are.
That's not a video.
No, it's just a still. So Tesla sales in China dropped massively, okay? Not a big surprise.
No.
Okay, here's what happened. Elon Musk and other manufacturers take note. When you allow the Chinese market to have your technology, they will copy it and they will release a much cheaper version, usually with more features.
And then the state will protect them.
Yes. And this is what happens. I mean, you see it with everything. I remember I got a TV, just a normal CRT back, in China when I was first there. CRTs were still a thing.
Yeah, back then.
So my CRT TV, not only was it a TV, but it had like a built-in Nintendo like knockoff
cool.
and all that stuff. But it was like had a couple of really bad homegrown games built in. But the fact of the matter is, just because they can add it, they add it, and you'll find that with everything. When they release an EV, you got to worry about the quality. You got to worry about the battery catching fire. You got to worry about these things, but it'll have built-in extra things that you would not normally have. So features that would be a premium that you would have to pay for in a Tesla, for instance, will already be baked into the Chinese software and into the Chinese car. So anyway, BYD and NIO and all these other EV competitors in China have now started to undercut Tesla massively, right? And also include all these extra features. So Teslas aren't selling very well. So what did Elon Musk do? He dropped the price. Now, if there's one thing that I've learned from all these real estate protests and stuff that you see in China is that if somebody's bought something and they paid, let's say, $100 for it, and then they find out that someone else paid $80 for the same product, they will lose their shit. They're like, I want those $20 back. You owe that to me because how dare you sell it cheaper? I paid $100, they only paid $80. Give me that $20 back. And that's what's happening with Tesla, is because they dropped the price. All current Tesla owners are like protesting and demanding that they get paid that money, that discount money back.
Yep.
And that's what's been going on in China with regards to Tesla. It's not looking good for Tesla right now.
No, it also cheapens the brand because rich people that can afford a Tesla now have a cheaper car.
Yeah, you're right. And we were discussing this earlier, actually, face culture. Maybe you can explain that.
Yeah, so in China, the average person can't buy a BMW or a Tesla or something, right?
No.
That's outlandish. The country's per person GDP, on average, if you take away like the purchase power parity, just how much money does someone make? It's like $10,000 a year, right? And that's everyone put together with the huge rich people skewing the whole thing up, right? Yeah. So you're not buying a Tesla on $10,000 a year, let's be honest. So it's going to be really rich people. People are buying a car, they still see it as an investment, just like you would in a nice property.
Yeah.
So you have this beautiful, nice car. To them, it's not something that's going to lose value. It's something that projects their wealth.
Yes.
So if all of a sudden there's this massive price cut on it, you've just cheapened what they've spent a lot of money on. It's more so what you said, being like ripped off, right?
Yeah. They want that, like here in the States, you got those big box stores like Costco or whatever.
Sure.
And if you buy something from them and then if you see it in the shop later and it's on discount on sale, you can actually go to their service and get the money back.
Right.
And if you look at the queues, you'll see who's there mostly. It's like old aunties and stuff. They just love that stuff.
They love it.
I'm like, I'm not standing in a queue for 20 minutes to get $10 back.
No.
That's not me, bro.
Yeah. Again, the little sprinkling on top of that, though, is now they have a cheaper car. It's less like show-offy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're running way over time, so let's...
Okay, we'll move on forward. But that's not looking good for Tesla in China right now. No. When are they going to learn their lesson?
What do you see there, by the way?
Oh, Watson's water.
Looks like it's all gone.
I wonder why. You know who was there? Sorry.
Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what. Mm-hmm. If you leave, like you put out cookies and milk for...
whiskey and cookies.
Or whiskey and cookies or whatever for Santa. Or, that's a bad analogy. If you leave food outside, like animals, like a coyote might get it or a deer.
Yes,
right?
yes.
It's exactly the same with Ballsack and Watson's. If you leave an errant can of Watson's, it will get snatched up.
Suddenly, Peter Daszak's coming from nowhere. He's snatching that thing up like there's no tomorrow.
Formulating how to cover up another global pandemic. Yeah. Anyway, in Minecraft, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going way over time, guys, so we'll hit some questions now.
Oh, we're going to move on to our Q&A section? Are you sure? We don't have anything
positive.
more? We got one more thing. What's this?
No, that is part of the protest.
Oh, this is part of the Tesla protest. Yes. Okay, and you can see people have been signing a petition. Mm-hmm. You know, that looks like my chair has a massive shadow. But I swear, it's just
a phone.
Yeah, it's a phone. Someone taking a photo.
Like a phone
this is my, I'm projecting myself onto this petition.
You know, you're the shadow king.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, fantastic. Right, guys, it's time for Yum Cha, which is our Q&A, and this is where we get to answer your questions, and you question our answers. Now, we leave this up through the weekend, but it gets cut out of the show on Monday. So if you are not watching live now, if you're not watching over the weekend, well, stay awesome, and we'll see you next time. If you are a patron, though, you always have access, doesn't matter what tier you are. Not only do you get access to our Discord, but you get access to full episodes, including the Q&As, if you ever desire to go back and watch them. You know, if there was a specific question that was answered, you know, something like that. Or if you got nothing else to do and you're driving on a long road trip and you just want to hear some nonsense talk. Because a lot of interesting things happens in the Q&A.
It does, yeah.
It's not just nonsense. There's actually some really fun stuff and some very insightful things happen. We get asked some great questions, is what I'm saying.
Also, Xiaoban Ho tier. So
go to patreon.com/ADV podcast, and you can join up if you have the means, and we'd very much appreciate that, and we'd love to welcome you aboard the team there.
It's the only way we can make money to support ourselves, support the channel.
Yeah. Anyway, time to loosen the tie, and let's get into it. What do we got?
First off, I have a massive apology.
What's that?
To Billy Mazek.
Okay.
We had a debate last time about the Honda Magna.
Yes.
Where he claimed it was a V4, and I said only the old ones are a V4. And he says, well, because I guess we're talking about the 90s one.
Yeah.
And I said they switched to a
V-twin.
V-twin, right? So I looked it up. It looks like a V-twin,
but it's a V4. What?
You know why?
Why?
Because the newer one that I saw was a V-twin.
Okay.
They made two versions of it. They made a 750 where they kept the V-twin, or V4, but made it look like a V-twin.
Okay.